What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro tool video. The new Prankid, I believe, new archetype, recently revealed. It's already up on YgoPro, so let's try it out. It's a very interesting archetype, somewhat fusion based with two different fusions, lower level and one higher level. The higher level is not here in the main deck, it's not really that strong. The lower level, the level 5 one, your rocket, is a bit stronger again. You have three different monsters. They're somewhat similar to Burning Abyss, I guess, since as soon as you're using them to go for either a link summon or a fusion summon for, you know, their archetype, you can special summon, at least you can use their graveyard effects of special summoning other copies from your main deck to the field. So pretty much link climbing, right? Definitely works well together, as you're seeing here with the Thunder archetype, with Invoked as well. Just getting more fusions on the field. Polymerization at the sheep engine is definitely something I like here in this deck, just giving you more options to go for the fusion summon, right? Totally awesome. In the extra deck, again, gives you more options, since the level 2 here, level 2 of your kit is also like an aqua type, so that instantly gives you access to go for something like totally awesome. Going for the rocket fusion, the rocket can pretty much tag out itself to special summon 2 used up Prankid monsters from your graveyard back to your side of the field. And, you know, having Alistair on the field, having access to totally awesome, and of course the Bolt, the Thunder King 2.0, to pretty much prevent your opponent from searching those extra cards. Again, quite clutch against pretty much every deck. So again, going for Cherubini, that's, I think, one of this deck's disadvantages. I mean, I'm not running too many back rows, so not too many defense here in the main deck. I believe only 2 Impermanence and 2 Edge Blossoms, I guess. So again, go for another Megaba, getting a surge off of the smaller Thunder Dragon. Again, that's all good, trying to push again for some extra damage, but run into, not really sure if we knew he had Fog Blade. I don't think so. He does have, I believe, one of the Phantom Knights in his graveyard to surge the Fog Blade, but anyway, so again, the Bolt prevented that surge. So getting the Lord on the field and some extra distraction effect, especially with the Dark Thunder Dragon in hand, I can potentially destroy any of your opponent's cards. And the Raging, again, superb against something like Burning Abyss, right? So again, the strength of this deck is definitely coming through, being the Prankids, being like extra a link engine pretty much, since they also have their own link monster. It needs 4 Prankid monsters on your side of the field, but as I mentioned before, like, if you're using your Prankids on the field to go for the link summon, you can special summon like other copies from your deck, for example, but again, that's not really too optimal, since their Link monster, their Link 4, isn't really that fantastic. It's not that strong, I guess. Again, going first here with the Rocket, pretty much the same standard moves, I guess. Going for a Rocket, special summoning the 2 other copies. The level 1 is a Thunder type, so that can be important for going for Bolt, your extra deck Thunder King. And having the 2 Aquas here to go for totally awesome. Again, all are definitely options. At this point, I was still running the Battery Man as well, but eventually I dropped that one for the, at least from the main deck. Just want to focus a little more on the Invoked engine in general, right? So definitely going to negate, I believe, negate to end it with the totally awesome, the Needle Fiber, but again, no follow-up play, so that's somewhat hard still for this particular archetype, is having a follow-up play, since again, fusion summoning asks, again, a lot of card investment, and with the current support, the archetype definitely lacks, like, you know, power cards and like a solid engine to gain back the used up advantage from your fusion summon. They also have like a quick play fusion that you can use during your opponent's turn, so potentially use or get those extra beneficial effects from them, you know, special summon something from the deck during your opponent's turn, so that's something to keep in mind. But the small downside to this is that their polymerization, themed polymerization, is again not searchable, so you can only send it to the graveyard and maybe with new support like get something back from the graveyard, but again, that's not really too sure. Anyway, again, a solid field, having the Totally Awesome to negate something, and a Super Bolt will prevent something to surge. I'm definitely going to negate the duplication, doesn't really matter, you know, taking, at least setting it on my side of the field. Mega Fleet is okay, he does go for the, what is it called, the Zieger, potentially doubling the attack, but the fact that Super Bolt can, you know, protect itself from banishing something from the graveyard and banishing Dart to get an extra surge, just gives this deck much more, lot of possibilities again for some field. At least having some field presence in general. Boral Sword and then some extra fusion shenanigans, and this again should be enough to attack for a game, right? So yeah, again, just pretty standard, I guess, but again, one of the biggest downsides of this deck is the extra deck. I mean, the extra deck is super filled, super packed with a lot of monsters, and I definitely want to add in more Thunder Dragons, but there just isn't any space for that. So pretty much the same opening place, and that's why I think you still need to run like the sheep, the black sheep, to search out the polarization, getting those extra fusion summons, since I think you want to keep your invocations for your invoked summons, or maybe your Thunder Dragon summons if you really want to, and then, you know, you can just use your polymerization to go for the rocket, right? So Totally Awesome is going to negate, well, he plays it out really well. Again, Totally Awesome negating the Harmonizing Magician, I believe the name is. But yeah, it's just for this deck, it's hard to do comeback for something, like, at least yeah, from something like this, right? So again, you at least you're losing your Link Alistair here, and your opponent can set up like a double Link summons and the Omega as well. Omega against the Thunder Dragons isn't really the best choice, since again the Thunder Dragons will just trigger, right? Anyway, so again, go for the rocket, pretty much going for like the Link climbing stuff, since they do, at least the fusion card, their themed fusion card, it does have the restriction that as soon as you're using it, you cannot go for other special summons outside of the Prankid card. So again, that's something just to keep in mind, but their themed fusion I think is just a one-off here in the main deck, since again it's not searchable. You can send it from your deck to the graveyard with one of their level 2 monsters, at least one of their monsters, but it might be with future support you can get back something from the grave as well, so that can be important, I guess. Ignister again will just clear the path, and now he's able to eventually attack for a game. So another example against Gravekeepers, going first this time, pretty much the same combos, right? It's not really that hard here. Having this particular board, the fact that you either have your Super Bolt on the field, it depends on you having like a Thunder Dragon that can be discarded from your hand. You do play a lot of options, but here in this case that wasn't the situation, at least that wasn't the case, right? So okay, Link Alistair, Totally Awesome again, potentially to negate something, and maybe I wasted both the Hand Trap and the Totally Awesome here, but the Necro Valley did seem a bit too threatening, especially since, you know, I can't use the invocation of banishing the cards from my graveyard if Necro Valley is on the field. So drawing another Prankid monster, that's okay, so I can just use it for a fusion summon. And going for a rocket as well, and using, at least I make a misclick here, using rocket's effect again, it doesn't make sense. I mean, okay, I would have reborn 2 Prankids monsters from my graveyard, but again, what would have been my follow-up place, right? So somewhat wasted 2k extra damage here, but in the long run it's not going to matter too much. Definitely going to put the Fusion Gravekeeper face down to prevent the Fusion Summon here, and yep, again, I can't lose this game, right? Okay, he does have the Necro Valley still face up on this side of the field, so I can't use the Invocation, but again, this is a solid field of having Board Load, put something from your opponent into defense position, the Raging as well, to interrupt any of your opponent's play. So finally, drawing into a Thunder Dragon, going for Bolt, and now this again should be enough to go for a game. So still one example left. I think again, going first, Gravekeepers, again pretty much the same standard shenanigans, and just showcasing these new Prankids and what they can do, right? So their bigger fusion, I guess it's fine, but again the extra deck just needs so you just need so many monsters in your extra deck, so I don't think you don't really want to dedicate more fusions here for this from the particular archetype. I think you'd rather want to main deck like other links as well before you make that particular choice. thanks to the fusion quick play spell card here, just leave the monsters on at least on my side of the field, and then, you know, fusion summoning during your opponent's turn, it gains some beneficial effects. Okay, the warning does prevent the Link monster from, well, I do get a search, get something back from the graveyard, since the Link one was destroyed, but it wasn't Link summoned, so I can't use the grave effects of the other Prankid monsters. But again, this board just speaks for itself, right? With the Thunderlord, the Super Bolt again, preventing my opponent from using the Gravekeeper Rota and Pot of Duality, right? The Gravekeeper Spy slipped, so eventually use Impermanence to prevent the Spy from going off, right? And now he's just entering the scoop phase. So again, like always, feel free to leave feedback. I'm definitely waiting for more Prankid support, but it definitely has potential, but for now, nothing too top tier. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.